The Bold and the Beautiful B&B. Spoilers recap for Monday, September 30, reveals that Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, regained consciousness and wouldn't let Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, call for an ambulance. Taylor tried to make excuses for her fainting spell, but Ridge could tell something more serious was going on. Nevertheless, Taylor refused to go to the hospital and didn't want Ridge telling Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline Messinswood, about this since it would upset her. After Ridge quizzed Taylor a bit more, she admitted she spoke to a doctor in Europe. Taylor confessed that she had heart failure and that she didn't have long to live, so Ridge was stunned. Next on Monday's B&B episode, John Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, once again reminded Steffi that he only had eyes for her, so there was no need to worry about Hope Logan, Annika Noel. Once Eric Forrester, John McCook, arrived, Steffi talked to him about Taylor's homecoming and the positive effect on Ridge. From Steffi's perspective, Ridge and Taylor had an unbreakable bond, so she made a prediction about them being connected until their last breath. Finn thought Taylor's return had been good for Steffi too, so she said she never wanted to be apart from her mom ever again. In the design office at Forrester Creations, Hope agreed to think about Carter Walton's, Lawrence St. Victor, idea of her modeling lingerie and continued their mutual flirting. Although Carter and Hope discussed how office romances were cursed, it still seemed like B&B was laying the groundwork for them to get together. Hope looked a bit flustered as she got tangled up with Carter when they reached for the same thing. At Il Giardino, Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, arrived with Katie Logan, Heather Tom, for lunch, which led to a conversation about his feelings regarding Bill Spencer, Don Diamond. If Katie was even thinking about taking Bill back, Will insisted she shouldn't do it because of him. Although Will claimed he wasn't still angry with Bill, Katie could tell their relationship was strained. There were parts of Bill that Will respected, but Will didn't like how his dad treated Katie and thought she'd shed too many tears over her ex. At some point, Will thought enough had to be enough. It was hard for Will to look at Bill the same because of his actions, but he assured Katie that he wasn't holding a grudge. Katie was glad that Will got some things off his chest and felt comfortable opening up to her. When Will gave Katie updates on his decision to transfer schools and stay in Los Angeles, she was thrilled. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Will and Bill could have more conflict ahead due to Will's upcoming job at Forrester Creations, so stay tuned to see how that news will affect them. CDL will have other exciting Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, predictions, news, and updates to check out, so make us your #1 source. The September 30 episode of The Bold and the Beautiful delivered an emotional roller coaster filled with revelations, heartfelt moments, and underlying tension as Taylor Hayes, played by Rebecca Budig, stunned Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, with a fatal confession about her health, while Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, voiced his frustrations over his father Bill Spencer's, Don Diamond, behavior. The episode began with Taylor regaining consciousness after collapsing, leaving Ridge deeply concerned. Her refusal to let him call for an ambulance added to the alarm. Ridge, trying to brush off Taylor's excuses, knew something more serious was wrong, but Taylor was unwilling to let him in on the full truth right away. She urged him not to tell their daughter, Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline Messinswood, insisting that it would only upset her. However, as Ridge pressed her, his fear grew. Taylor hesitated, but eventually confessed that she had been consulting a doctor in Europe about her health. The revelation hit like a punch to the gut when she disclosed that she had heart failure and that her time was limited. Ridge was left stunned by the news and struggled to wrap his head around the impending loss of Taylor, a woman he had shared so much of his life with. Taylor's calm demeanor and acceptance of her fate contrasted with Ridge's mounting anguish. While she had come to terms with her condition, Ridge couldn't accept the idea of losing her. Taylor, however, stood firm in her refusal to seek immediate medical attention, highlighting her desire to maintain some semblance of control over her final days. Ridge's reaction to Taylor's confession highlighted their deep bond, one that transcended time and challenges. Despite everything, Ridge could never fully let Taylor go, and his sorrow in the moment was palpable. He struggled to come to terms with the reality of her situation, knowing how much Steffi still needed her mother. Meanwhile, at the Forrester mansion, Steffi spoke to Eric Forrester, John McCook, about the powerful effect Taylor's return had on Ridge. From Steffi's perspective, their bond was unshakable, as if fate kept pulling them together no matter what. Steffi even predicted that Ridge and Taylor would remain connected until their very last breaths, unaware of just how tragically close that moment could be. John Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, was quick to point out the positive impact Taylor's presence had on Steffi as well. After all, Steffi had endured so much loss in recent years, and her mother's return brought back a sense of stability. Finn was supportive and assured Steffi that, no matter what, they would navigate any challenges as a family. Elsewhere, in the Forrester Creations design office, sparks flew between Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor. The two found themselves in a series of flirty exchanges, despite their discussion of how office romances often ended in disaster. The conversation felt like a prelude to something more, with the pair continuously getting tangled up in awkward, but suggestive moments. Carter even suggested Hope consider modeling Forrester's lingerie line, an offer that added fuel to the potential chemistry brewing between them. Both tried to play it off, but the tension was undeniable. Whether or not anything develops from their flirtation remains to be seen, but The Bold and the Beautiful seems to be laying the groundwork for a future romantic twist. At Il Giardino, a lunch meeting between Will and his mother Katie Logan, Heather Tom, brought a different kind of family conflict to the forefront. Will opened up to Katie about his complicated feelings toward his father, Bill. While Will didn't harbor any lasting resentment toward Bill, he made it clear that he was deeply affected by his father's actions. Bill had hurt Katie time and time again, and Will, now older and more perceptive, didn't like the idea of his mother shedding any more tears over him. He admitted that while there were things he respected about his father, Bill's treatment of Katie had left a lasting mark. Will urged his mother to consider his feelings if she ever thought about reconciling with Bill, which Katie noted with a sense of both sadness and relief. Will's frustration with his father was further compounded by his decision to stay in Los Angeles and attend a new school, a decision that thrilled Katie but likely foreshadowed more conflict between Will and Bill in the future. Will's impending involvement at Forrester Creations, combined with his strained relationship with Bill, hints at a possible power struggle between father and son, especially with Will stepping into the family business. How Bill will handle his son's independence and burgeoning career remains to be seen, but it's clear that trouble is brewing. As the episode wrapped up, Ridge was left to grapple with Taylor's bombshell confession. His mind raced with memories of their past, the love they shared, and the family they had built. The idea of losing Taylor weighed heavily on him, and while she insisted on keeping her condition private, Ridge knew that Steffi deserved to know the truth. Yet he struggled with how to break such devastating news to his daughter. Ridge's pain was compounded by his own sense of helplessness. Taylor's refusal to seek immediate treatment frustrated him, but he respected her wishes. Still, the thought of losing her, after everything they had been through, was almost too much for him to bear. Ridge was a man torn between respecting Taylor's autonomy and doing everything in his power to save her.